One of the most important identifiers is the name. It is something that stays with us for the rest of our lives. Yet, many minorities are told that their name is too ghetto or hard to pronounce, that our kids should be named some good old-fashioned American name like John, Jane, Bob, or Susie. But America is a country with so many cultures that names like Daquan, Ahalia, Bolu, Silana should be accepted and celebrated because our names will make us unique and different. State your name.
Jordan Wright.
My name is Charlotte Spurl.
Kevin White.
Natasha.
Do people have a hard time pronouncing your name?
No, not usually.
I mean, I had one person who just messed it up because they didn't have the R in there. So they said Jodan, and I was like, you're wrong. But other than that, no.
Not usually. Some people have mispronounced it though.
Sometimes they just pronounce it differently of what I'm used to.
Have you ever been asked if you were born here in America?
No.
Yes.
No.
Nope, I've never been asked that. When I've been out of the country before, people have asked where I'm from, but no one in the United States has ever asked if I was born in America.
Have you ever asked someone if they were born here in America?
I have.
Not that I recall.
I don't think I've ever asked someone that question specifically, if they were born in America. No, I don't think so. But I have asked people where they're from. I remember I asked someone one time if they were born in America, but that's because I forgot that Hawaii was part of the United States, and I knew that she was born in Hawaii, and I forgot that that was part of the U.S. But that's not exactly what you're getting at. But I don't think I've asked that question specifically, but I've said I've asked people where they're from.
Have you ever felt like an outsider?
Yes, I have.
Yes.
I think only, maybe sometimes, maybe not an outsider, but I have felt like maybe in high school or in college events or in new places where I feel like a new person, I would feel a little left out or maybe a little out of place, but not an outsider, but just maybe I felt lonely, but maybe not an outsider.
Yeah.
There are so many races in the world. We aren't born knowing about races. We are taught. And sometimes we forget that despite our many different skin tones or ethnicities, that we are all the same. We are human. What race do you identify as?
That's a tricky question, because, if I'm gonna, take into consideration the different races they put on, what you select as, I'm not black, I'm not white, I'm not Native American, I'm everything, since Puerto Ricans are mixtures of Europeans, Africans, and the Native Americans that lived in Puerto Rico before the Spanish people killed them. Yeah, so it's a hard question.
Biracial, so both African American and Caucasian.
I identify as Anglo-American with a little bit of Native American mixed in.
Identify as white or Caucasian.
Who told you that you are that race?
It's just what I grew up with, generally speaking. My family, however, does not identify with the Native American heritage of their past, so they usually just don't talk about it.
I don't remember who told me I was that race. It may have been my parents, or maybe it was the first time I ever had to identify myself that maybe my parents told me. Maybe they waited till, I don't know, honestly I can't remember, but I'm thinking maybe my parents didn't mention that until maybe the first time I actually had to identify it, like maybe on some sort of form or document. I'm not sure, I can't remember specifically.
I'm gonna say my parents and society. Oh yeah, I don't think that I was ever actually just straight up told by anyone else other than society and then my parents. By society, I'm thinking like doctors, stuff like that.
Well, history teachers.
When did you become aware of other races?
It probably would have been a pretty young age, but it would have been just like Native Americans because of television. Um, Not many other races appear where I'm from on TV.
I feel like I became aware fairly early because I definitely recognized that people didn't look like me that my family hung out with because it was always one-sided. We weren't hanging out with biracial people because that's not really a thing. So it was often one race or the other. And I don't know, it was interesting. Like family gatherings, stuff like that. Yeah, that's basically it.
I've always been aware of races since I have like 3 in me, like history-wise.
I'm not sure. I think I've been aware of other races for a long time. I remember when I was young, we had international students who would stay. We had like an attic apartment that we rented out. So we had a few. We had a student from China who came and a student from Japan, and I remember. I knew that they were from Japan and I knew they were from China, but I'm not sure what the specific time I knew about actual racial constructs like these groups, white and black. I'm not sure when I first learned about that. I'm guessing pretty young, but I didn't learn about, you know, all the intricacies of race and all the difficulties that interracial or racial groups have gone through. I think I learned about that later on, but yeah, I'm not sure.
Do you think because of your race you have certain privileges?
Not really.
Privileges. I don't think so. I don't know. It's rough. It's rough because I guess it's depending on who's identifying me.
I think I do have certain privileges because of my race. I think I have the privilege of not being, how do I want to say this? I think I have this privilege of not being defined by my race or my ethnicity. As in, people don't ask me, you know, about my being white, or they don't make as many assumptions about me based on my race. Because I'm white, I think white people have this privilege, sadly, or unfortunately, this unbalance that white people have this privilege that they don't have to be identified by their race. They can be anything that they want to be, whereas a lot of people look at another race and make assumptions about them. And I think that's a privilege that I have, and a disadvantage that a lot of different racial groups have. I think I'm less likely to probably run into bias or unfair discrimination when trying to get a job, maybe, or that sort of thing. Yeah, I think those are some of the privileges.
Not explicitly. However, I do see things that imply that it could in fact be the case. I don't know that I've ever experienced it either.
No matter what color you are or race you identify as, we have all faced some type of hardship. Our ancestors overcame a lot to give us a better future. Have you faced any hardships in your life?
I have.
Yeah, I have. But I would call them more personal hardships rather than systemic or societal hardships. Like I've dealt with anxiety and stress and depression and that sort of thing, and you know, problems that a lot of people face, like loneliness at times and even bullying. I've gone through a lot of hardships. I would say not any sort of systemic hardships that have, you know, in me, but yeah.
Yes, of course, but I don't think that I've reached a point where I face too many, like where it's gotten to the point where I can't overcome the hardships that I faced. So I say that I've experienced some, but not too bad yet.
Absolutely. However, I wouldn't say any of them kind of had to do with race.
What kind of hardships have your ancestors faced?
That's a, I don't know. My ancestors. Well, I don't know how to answer that. I mean, like, it's kind of obvious. It's like the Indians from Puerto Rico, like the original ones, got slaughtered, and then they brought slaves, and they got slaughtered too, and then like white people are like white people, you know. So
I would say the majority of them would have faced issues with just immigration. Others would have faced issues with probably the whole like half-breed idea, since I am partially Anglo-American and partially Native American. That probably came up with some of them at some point.
My ancestors have faced, well, some of my ancestors were recent immigrants, like my great-grandma and my grandpa, who came over from the Czech Republic. And I know that they face hardships in their home country, definitely with the Russian occupation in both Poland and in the Czech Republic. And also, I think that, well, they faced the hardship of being an immigrant in America. Also, my great-grandma, I know she came from Poland, and she was also Catholic, and she married my great-grandpa, who was, what do you call it, Southern Baptist, and his family, you know, was like North Carolina, been there for a long time. So she faced discrimination from his own family, because of them marrying and her being this new immigrant from Poland and then being Catholic, which was just not seen as very good at the time. Other things, I think poverty maybe. I don't know all the specifics, but years back I think poverty might be one of a hardship faced. Yeah.
I'll say housing was a difficult aspect for my grandfather. Like, I know that was a complication that he had growing up, like just purchasing houses. On my mom's side though, that's on my dad's side, but on my mom's side I haven't heard anything, honestly. So yeah, I guess it's just interesting to hear what they'll have to say to me, but I don't know how far back we're going, so that's what I'll stick with.
Do you think you will face any hardships due to race?
yes, most likely.
Yeah, I think so. But I use my race not as how many phrases? Okay. Trying to think. Having both sides, I think, helps me. It's not. I don't think that it lessens my chances in any opportunities, because I'm often seen for one side or the other, which is weird, but yeah, I don't know what I'm saying at this point. Like, I have no clue. I don't know. Can we ask that one again? Honestly, I'm like, I don't know. So I'll probably just say that instead.
I don't think I will face any hardships due to race. Gender, possibly, some obstacles to overcome there, but I don't, when I think about my future, I don't think about running into problems with my race. And I think I'm pretty privileged that I don't have to worry about that.
As long as there are hateful and ignorant people, colorism and racism will continue to exist. It's only by recognizing our own biases and understanding each other that we can come together as a community and a nation.